Which was a happy memory.
Yeah.
3,
Thank you, paying attention.
2, 1, rolling.
Meryl Streep, A Cry in the Dark. Number one, I want to tell you, it's a pleasure to see you again.
Thank you.
And to tell you, yet again, that one can sit in front of you and look into your eyes and compliment you on an extraordinary piece of work and the sense of dedication that goes into it. And I'm curious because Fred Skepsey and Sam Neill were talking about the real-life Chamberlains.
Mm.
And being aware of you, Meryl, and things that you've said in the past about the actor working, the actor preparing,
Mm-hmm.
you were reluctant to meet the real-life Chamberlains, and yet you did. Why the reluctance, and then why being with them?
Well, I was not reluctant to meet them. I always knew that I would have to meet them. It's just when. Is it going to be Thursday? No, not Thursday. What about Tuesday? No, not Tuesday. I was just afraid. I was really afraid because I bore a huge responsibility on my shoulders to make their story. Because it had to be absolutely true. You know, when we made this film, they were convicted murderers. And a lot of people, educated, interesting people in Australia, thought they were guilty. And they had been pardoned, but it was like maybe they got off easy. They were not allowed to have a passport to leave this country where they were so put upon. And they were innocent people. And we believed that while we were making the film. And the film has been finished for, I guess, 6 months maybe. But it was only 1 month ago that they were absolutely clearly exonerated, which means not pardoned. It means the convictions are completely wiped off the slate. The judges said this action never should have been brought.
But not the years of grief
But not
and suffering.
the years, no. That's 8 years ago they lost that baby. And it's, so it was, while we were making the film, I was feeling like a water buffalo walking on the tenderest feelings of people.
And may I add, with humor and respect, looking like a water buffalo, Miss Streep.
I hope you don't have any clips.
I can only say that to you because I'm sitting in front of you today and you look rather wonderful.
Oh, thank you.
Otherwise one couldn't tease you about your appearance.
I thought that was important because it was a lot of how people judged her was how she looked. And during this trial she really blew up. She was pregnant, but she was big, really big. And there was a certain way that her face became set after the barrage of media attention. And it became set in lines of pain. And she wasn't attractive at that moment in her life. And I thought it was really important to achieve that. And I think I have achieved a singularly unattractive look in this film.
Also, Meryl, wasn't it extraordinary that you were dealing with this miscarriage of justice, with a media that had been unjust, unfair, in the extreme, while you and your fellow actor, Sam Neill, were being subjected to a media barrage that must have made you on some evenings say, is this in the script? Are they trying to help us prepare? Why are they doing this to us?
That's true. I mean, it was irony heaped upon irony. That's all I could think of was, thank God I'm going home. But
I mean, there you were playing someone who might have been the most hated woman in Australia.
Absolutely.
While you were being called the most uncooperative actress in the history of movie making.
But let's face it, which is more scarring? I mean, that hurt my feelings,
there's no
but
contest.
It didn't tear the soul out of me like it must have. The Chamberlains, going through what they went through. You know, Lindy said to me, I repeat this line, but I think it's just amazing. You know, I said, well, she said, well, how do you like all the attention you're getting? Because people were camped outside of our house, and there was we just lived on a regular street, and there was a van. I don't like to have security people, they give me the creeps. But there was a van parked outside of our house, with a huge lens going in, and there was a gauze curtain. My daughter was standing and doing a dance, you know, nude on the stairs, you know, because she saw a camera. She acts up when she sees one. And I really don't have them photograph my kids for other reasons. And I was, you know, really desperately afraid of all this stuff. And I knew how virulent it can be and how strong their feelings are about this case in that country, even right today. Even the fact that she's cleared, I think there remains a residual suspicion, you know. So she said, how are you bearing up? And I said, well, you know. I said, I think I'm beginning to feel increments of how you must have felt. And I feel it, you know, because we have this similar, we're both have a lot of notoriety. And she said, yes, but you're famous and I'm infamous. And she said, I thought that was pretty sad. You know, I can walk away from that part. That's the rest of her life. And given all that, she's absolutely the real lady. I mean, I couldn't even begin to build on screen the size of her spirit. Not even begin. She's astounding. Very ordinary woman, very regular person. I shop at Kmart and I get good prices for my kids' clothes, and she's right down the line, very direct, but she doesn't give you an inch, you know. That's just the person she is. And people didn't like her. They didn't like her on the sound bites, you know, that they'd get on the news. And she didn't weep in front of them. And they didn't understand that way of handling grief. And frankly, I mean, I think this is the landscape of my work, is investigating emotions. And I don't think there is any such thing as an appropriate display of grief. Nobody knows how it's going to hit them and what's going to show till it happens to them. So I was interested in this question, you know, of how she was perceived on the TV, and how evidence that was brought out in the trial was put out on the TV. And I just thought it was an amazing and compelling story, and one that was not just Australian. One that had application to our lives, and one that, I mean, I do the same thing. People that are watching now are doing the same thing. They're watching us and saying, you know, I don't know if I like what she just said, or her dress, or the way he's sitting there. And they judge us on the basis of that, and I think we have to be very careful of that in our lives, because now we're electing people on the basis of this silly, short,
But Meryl, you said
sighted judgment.
You said that several years ago when you finally agreed to speak at Vassar, and you told those students about the meaning of life and what you represented up there to them, how you could do it, how you had it. And you talked about values and excellence not being rewarded and what was waiting for them out there. So it's full circle.
Yeah, that's true. I guess
Whether
we
you're
don't
at
change.
Vassar, no. And if we do, we try for the better.
Yeah.
But we don't control
Well,
it.
that's right. We don't control it. But I think you do. I mean, I don't know why I feel that way, but I guess it was beaten into me by my mother and father or something.
On that, let us take a break and look at a scene from A Cry in the Dark, all right? May we?
Great.
Fine.
Thank you.
Be right back. Meryl Streep is with us. May I just repeat something very quickly?
Yes,
I
of
was
course.
telling you that Kate Nelligan was doing Michael Weller's play Spoils of War,
Yes.
and we know what a wonderful actress she is.
Yes.
And you and Kate Nelligan have this extraordinary thread. It's like
Yes.
being with Sigourney Weaver, and Sigourney Weaver tells a story about you.
Oh, she does.
Oh yes.
Does
Oh,
she?
not like the ones Mary Beth Hurt tells, Meryl.
Oh, well, those are all true. But I can't say the same for Sigourney's stories.
You can't? Well, that's another program, obviously. I'll just write out all the remarks that Sigourney Weaver and Mary Beth Hurt have made about Meryl Streep.
Blatant liar. No.
Well, at least
No,
you agree
that's-
on that.
Yes.
May I say something to you? After watching most recently, Ironweed, now Cry in the Dark. And we see what you're going through, what you give us on screen. One just yearns to have you all dressed up and looking your prettiest and saying witty, sparkling things and exposing this outrageous sense of humor that Sam Neill says got us through location work, got us through the trauma. Fred Skepsey says she's one of the funniest women in the world. And you know, and other people
Maybe
have
in
said
that
it about you.
circumstance, anything seems funny. I mean, we're desperate and, yeah.
No, but wouldn't it be, I mean, if you're not going to sing your way into the hearts of the world with Evita, which you may be.
Which I think I am.
You are?
The guy in here just before told me that he saw in the column that I was, so. Yeah,
What's
they
your
offered me the,
reaction?
oh, listen, talk about elegance. That's, you know, that's a Swiss bank account that did that wardrobe. Evita's wardrobe. Yeah, I think I'm going to be doing that next fall with Oliver Stone. And that's a dream I've had for 10 years. Now, not only Kate Nelligan will be mad at me, but Patti LuPone, Elaine Page.
Barbara Streisand will hit you, and that's a hit.
Oh, God. But yeah, I've
also
always
you have a
wanted to
chance
do
to
it.
sing.
I've always wanted to sing. I'm scared. The word is not sayable on the TV, but I am. But I like that feeling of being challenged. And at least I'll look good, as you said.
Yes, you will. You look stunning. Several conversations ago, you talked about an original screenplay that you were working on. We must remember those academic achievements and the various things you did study, along with design and playwriting and drama. Is it still there? Are you still working on it? Is it in a
No,
drawer?
honestly, you know, I don't have any time. Actually, I have my poetic life and my prose life, and my prose life now is really taking over because I feel so concerned about the environment. I feel like we only have 10 years to the turn of the century, and that's 10 years, according to the scientists, to clean this place up. We bear a huge responsibility for it. And I feel that need to contribute. So I've picked my thing. And my thing is cleaning up the food supply, because I'm a very big eater, as you can tell from the clips, when I let myself. And I've found out that from the Natural Resources Defense Council and other groups that every single piece of food that we have now is in some way tampered with chemically. And that's really surprising. I have two grandmothers that lived to be 94 and 96. Until they were 5 years old, when you're most vulnerable to these things, nothing but pure food and water passed their lips. Same with my mother. But me and my children, nothing I give my children is unsprayed. Nothing. And they're finding out that it has a devastating effect on children's health. And I got mad about it, and I'm going to try to work on it, but that's sort of taking the place of my imaginative life at the moment, because I feel it's so important.
I remember you expressing the hope that people would read Jonathan Schell's Fate of the Earth and become aware, and as you said, by the time my son, my eldest child, is 21, what will there be? What world will there be for him to live in, which is the concern of every parent in the world.
Yes.
What will my children inherit?
Yes.
What am I leaving behind
That's
for
right.
them?
It's all I think about is that future. And I admit it, I didn't think about that 10 years ago, before I had children in the same way that I do. Now I really feel it's up to me. But I've been convinced by friends that I don't have to do thermal, global warming. I don't have to do waste on the beaches and the problem of disposal. I don't have to do this very devastating radioactive waste dumping. I have to do the thing that touches me the most, and you only have to do one thing, but everybody has to do one thing, because it takes everybody, I think, to accomplish it.
Meryl, when A Cry in the Dark is available to moviegoers, and the international press takes a look at your work and says, Meryl Streep, yet again, does an accent other than American, and you
Yeah.
can say, as you have said in the past, the most interesting roles being written, and perhaps the only interesting scripts you are reading and considering, are other than American.
Mm-hmm.
We can talk about Evita. We can talk about other things you will do in your career.
Evita will be totally in a New Jersey accent. I guarantee you. I'm not going to get any flack for that.
Until you sing.
Even the singing, I'll make a deal.
Now, was it being with Lindy, or did you, again, as you have done in the past, work with a coach? Were there
No. I wasn't trying to, learn Australian like I was trying to learn Polish.
and parse those sentences.
No, but with playing Lindy Chamberlain, played other real people before. I played in Isaac Dinesen in Out of Africa, and Karen Silkwood, and probably something else I'm leaving out. But with those characters, I had more freedom. I attached more of me to what I didn't know about them. With Lindy, because every single frame of this film had to be the absolute truth and defensible in a court of law. I mean, we could have been sued for things if we were not absolutely sure it was right. I felt a responsibility to do as much as I could to duplicate her way of speaking. And I don't look anything like her. But I felt that the way that she wore her hair, which was very severe, had to do with how people judged her on television. I thought that the way that she made her face look with those eyebrows, I mean, I still don't know why she plucks them straight up in the air like that, but I think it gives her a look that was hard. And, people that package our presidential candidates know all about this, and they try to get Dukakis into the rumpled suit and get shoulder pads. They try to have Bush, not wave around like too much. But people who are thrust into the spotlight by a tragedy just aren't ready. They don't think of arranging themselves, and they're naive about the media, and yet everybody judges them on the same box as they do the most prepackaged people like me, And I think it's dangerous. I think it's something we should look at with our best judgment, as opposed to our quickest, worst judgment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pleasure being with you again.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Me too.
Come to Toronto.
I'd love to.
Leave the kids at home. Leave them with Dawn.
Absolutely. No,
Travel a
I
bit.
have to take him
It's nice seeing
to
you.
have fun.
Thank you.
Nice
Thank
seeing
you, ladies and
Thank
gentlemen.
you.